Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me today. This video is addressing something that I think many of us have noticed for quite some time in the drugstore lately. The prices are going up for a lot of things. I would like to say that I had to dig to find products that were over $10 at the drugstore, but really it was more of the rule than the exception. You know what I'm saying? This entire look totals $178.37, and I think that's a lot for drugstore makeup. The prices are really creeping up there, especially with certain things like foundations and eyeshadows and anything that might come in a palette form. And so what I wanted to do today was really focus in on those products, the things that as you browse the drugstore aisles and you see that the prices crept up to 12, maybe 15, 16 bucks on something, and it really causes you to give it a second look. Those are the things that I want to try in this video for you and let you know whether or not they're worth it. Because I know my high school or college self would not be buying this stuff. Like, I always stayed at a pretty darn low price point for my stuff back in that day. And now, you know, especially for those of us who are beauty bloggers and vloggers and we're getting all this product in from a lot of brands. Now, much of this stuff I did buy myself, but admittedly, some things that you get sent, you try it out and you think, oh, you know, this is wonderful, blah, blah, blah. But when you stop and think about what that actually costs somebody to go to the store and buy, when you look at it from that perspective, it maybe prompts you to look at it a bit more critically. And I will say this, as far as I'm concerned, if a brand is putting out something and let's say the price is a little bit higher. For example, I got a palette in this video from NYX that is $24.99. I'm not going to be one of those people that sits here and says, who does NYX think they are putting the price of that palette up so high? If it's really good quality and it performs well and it can hang with the things in my collection that cost a lot more money than that, then I'm still gonna go for it. If it's worth it, it's worth it. But there are certainly some things that you're gonna see me use today that have a jacked up price that I think is totally unnecessary, so I will address that as well. And the funny thing is I could probably do this video several times over featuring different expensive drugstore products because there's so much of it out there. It's not like there's just one expensive foundation. Like, there's so many foundations now that exceed the $10 mark, and you've gotta look harder to find the ones that are under $10. I mean, it's getting kind of ridiculous, but here we go. Let's jump into the full face look and then I'll have some reviews at the end. For starters, I am using this Almay Smart Shade CC Luminous Primer. It does have SPF 15 in it, which is kind of nice in case like you're using a moisturizer that doesn't have any sunscreen. It can be included in this, and it has kind of a pearly light pink shade, and I'm just going to rub this in all over my face. It feels really smoothing. It's not one of those kind of glowy primers that simply feels like another layer of moisturizer. It makes my skin feel just a little bit softer all over. And while it does give my skin a little bit of glow, it's nothing super pronounced. Like, if you didn't tell me I had on a glowy product, I might not know for sure. Next up, this is coming in at $15.99. It's the Maybelline Dream Cushion. I have this in Classic Ivory. I think it was the second shade in the lineup. So things in this line seem to run a little bit on the dark side. And it's got your compact mirror right there. There's your sponge. And I'm just going to be using a little brush to dab in here and apply it. That's just kind of the method I tend to like most with these cushions. So dab, dab, dab on in. And what I've noticed with this product is, as with most like cushion things, it is really thin in consistency. It doesn't feel super heavy on my skin like right now as I'm applying it. But an interesting thing that I notice as I wear it throughout the day, my skin does pick up a little bit more of a greasy feel than usual, which is kind of odd, and I've noticed that pretty much every time I've worn this. But it reminds me very much just the weight on the skin, the consistency of the product. It's really lightweight, and it reminds me so much of the L'Oreal True Match Lumi cushion, but it just doesn't have as much glow on the skin, and that's why I think it might appear to have like a little more coverage than the other one, when really I do think the coverage levels are similar. It's just when you take away the glow, it's going to maybe look a little more perfected on the skin. The skin will look more perfected, perhaps. But these cushion foundations just do not come cheap, you know? And I kind of start looking at my skin and I pretend like maybe I'm just applying any liquid foundation to the skin. And I think, is this really that much different? Is this method that much better? And I don't really think so. You know? And coverage-wise, this is a medium coverage product on the skin. I can still see certain freckles sparkles through it. I can still see a certain amount of under eye darkness through this. It's not going to just go on your face and cancel out everything. Okay, cushion, you got me. When it falls off the table, it doesn't spill out everywhere on the floor. I forgot I wanted to apply some of my Almay lip balm to sort of prep the lips early on here. This smells like cotton candy. It's so good. This is not a cheap lip balm from the drugstore. It's $10.99, but it's the Age Essentials Lip Treatment, SPF 30. This has actually helped my lips heal from being super chapped, so it is a legitimately good lip balm, and I would put it up against more expensive lip balms that I own. I'm using my Physicians Formula Insta Ready Full Coverage Concealer. It's a small bottle here. It has a little pump, and I usually try to go like halfway down with the pump, and I'm getting a little bit better at controlling the product as it comes out because it doesn't take a lot of this. You'll see how much like I can end up getting on my under eye area with product to spare, and that's just half a pump. So it's very concentrated. It's really good coverage. I feel like it's pretty close to the coverage of like Tarte Shape Tape or like MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, although I feel like it's a little less drying on the skin compared to Pro Longwear. But I'm just taking this P84 brush from Sigma, and I'm going to blend that in on my under eye area right up to the lower lash line, really close there. And the shade on it is really perfect. As you can see, it's a little lighter. It's a little step up from my skin tone. So I think it ends up giving me coverage, but also being really brightening kind of in the same step. I have used this all over my face before. Actually, one full pump will get all over my face and kind of act as a really good coverage foundation, actually. Next up, I've got this powder. It's from Boots number 7. It's the Translucent Perfect Light Loose Powder. And this is kind of some interesting stuff. I have enjoyed the effect that I've gotten from this. And you guys know I am so loving the Laura Mercier powder. I think that loose powder is just everything. It's so good. The thing that really baffles me about the Laura Mercier is that I can bake with it and get a super flawless look on my under eye area, let's say, but I can use it lightly and really like the effect that I get also, just with a small brush, just very little applied to the brush. It works so well for me in either capacity. What I found with this powder is that it wears really well, but I have to apply a little bit more to become satisfied with just the appearance on the skin. But on the flip side of that statement, I think it's saying something that I can apply a decent amount of this product and it still doesn't end up looking heavy on my skin in broad daylight, you know, checking yourself out in the rear view mirror and it still looks good. I mean, that is saying something. So what I'm going to do, I put a little bit in the cap here, I mean a decent amount, and I'm going to dab into that with a sponge. I'm going to sort of bake my under eye area. Now, while that's kind of baking here on my skin, I'm going to do my eyebrows. And what I'm using is a 4-piece system is what they call it from Physicians Formula. It's the Eye Booster 4-in-1 Brow Boosting Kit. And so it's a double-ended pencil that has your brow color and your highlight. They call it Universal Brown. And then I guess another piece to this kit is this little brush and comb duo. And then you've got a tinted gel in here. Now, this is not one of those skinny minis. It's kind of a jumbo stick. So I'm going to be working that through my eyebrows. And as you would expect, it's just harder to be precise with this. It's harder to, you know, just fill in a very tiny area. It's not the type of pencil that you're really going to pull off. Even when it's super sharpened, you know, you're not going to pull off a lot of very fine hair-like strokes. And when I think about this 4-piece set and the fact that you're paying, you know, close to $15 for it, what do you actually need in your brows? Well, you absolutely need, you know, the color to fill them in, and you could buy a decent like skinny pencil if that's what you're into from the drugstore for, let's say, $7 or $8, and then you could get just any old gel to set them with for super cheap from like Wet n Wild. The little highlighting pencil, you know, if you've got a good highlighting eyeshadow, that's not an absolute must, and most pencils would come with some sort of little brush on the end too. So I think realistically for under $10 you could get what you needed for brows from the drugstore. So I don't really see this little set of things as a total must-have, especially considering that I don't love working with this size of a pencil so much. But they do really set you up at the same time to have all elements of the brow look and you're not going around searching for this thing and that thing. So it could offer some simplicity shopping-wise to some people. I'm gonna go ahead and brush that through with the little brush, and I do like this kind of a brush that has actual little ends to it. Spoolies are fine, but this really sweeps product through. And then the tinted gel is really just that. It is mostly gel. There's not hardly any color to it at all, just a little bit. It's not like one of those brow products like Benefit Gimme Brow and different ones that are a lot like that have so much color to them that they could actually be used on their own to fill in your brows. This is mostly just transparent. And then I'm going to use this little highlight, and I may go back, I don't know, I might go back and add a little bit more once the eye look is done. But this is really soft and creamy. Now I'm going to sweep away some of my bakedness right here that was on the nose, the under eye area. And I'm going to be using the most expensive thing on this list today, and it's my $24.99 NYX Contour Palette. This has been in my collection for a while. I'm actually kind of glad that I rediscovered it and pulled it out again here for this video because the quality of the product in here is quite nice. The powders are soft, pigmented. You have a nice range here. Not that everybody really needs technically a whole range of contour shades, but you do have them. And then what I think is really valuable is having the range of highlight shades. You've got a couple of tones here that are matte, a really shimmery pearl shade, and then kind of a more natural like beigey shimmer over here. And I've reviewed this product. I like it. I think it works well. I'm going to use some of this contour shade right here. Get that right here in the hollow of the cheek. I don't generally go for a super like pronounced, super heavy contour, but I am going to go through all the steps here. I'm going to come back to that palette for the highlight, but in between here I'm going to use my $12.99 Butter Blush here from Physicians Formula. I've got it in the shade Plum Rose, and yeah, I've already sort of given my review on this in a video I did on like new drugstore blushes. It must have been around the start of the year. And for my skin tone, I think this is really, really faint. Like the amount that it shows up kind of comes into the just barely category, and the other shade that this stuff comes in really amounts to more like a highlight on my skin. But some people say that this on like really fair skin shows up wonderfully well. I mean, I just think there are a lot of blushes out there that can do every bit of what this does and at just a fraction of the price. So to me, it's not super worth it. It does have that really, really strong like tropical butter bronzer scent though. I'm not saying it's the worst blush I've ever tried, but I have to put on a lot. And then I think I'm going to do this really bright highlight over here. This is so pretty, I think. And I do like the more beigey highlight as well. That's probably the one that I go for even more often, but this one really has a lot of shine if that's what you're after. Now, while most everything in this video has been something that I've used for quite a while and I'm able to give you a real good take on how it works, there are a few things in this video that are totally new to me. One of them is this Revlon Photo Ready Eye Primer Plus Brightener. And you guys know I am a diehard fan of the Milani eyeshadow primer. That's definitely less than $10. I think it works wonderfully well. I mean, it's just everything I need. So for this to top that product, I don't know, it would really be saying something. How long do I have to click? There it comes. Okay. Ooh, it's really peachy. Oh no, I'm getting sloppy here. But this actually did say on the packaging that you could apply it under your eyes for brightening as well. Well, as you can see, it is truly brightening, and it kind of does offer coverage to my lids. It feels just the slightest bit tacky, not super tacky, so I'm not sure how it's going to grab the eyeshadow. I am using this NYX Avant Pop eyeshadow palette in the shade Nouveau Chic, and this is $16.99. And I've talked about these palettes before from NYX, and I think they are impeccable quality. The eyeshadows are really pigmented, and I also really love the shade selection. You know, the colors they put in here are very workable. It gives you a lot of options. Even this being the most neutral palette that they offer under this Avant Pop label, I think it's still very, very versatile. And to me, I love having peach, I love having plum together in there. Nice mix of matte and shimmer, so we're good. We're gonna go with this. And I'm gonna first go into this brown shade right down here. And I'm just going to apply this to my crease. And as you can see, it's doing a great job of building up just a little soft crease color here with very little product applied. These are little goes a long way eyeshadows for sure. And they're the kind of eyeshadows that I think you really want to tap off the excess with once your brush goes into them. They kind of remind me a little bit of Lorac shadows in that way. So I've got my crease going on there. And then I think above my crease, I want to use this matte peach. Love this shade. I'm just gonna go over sort of the upper part. This isn't gonna be like crazy style eyeshadow. This is gonna be Emily style eyeshadow, just FYI. And just really, I'm trying to demonstrate the quality of the shadow, not so much like some crazy off the wall look. And I'm gonna go ahead and highlight from there with this shiny one. You also have a perfect like little bit buttery matte highlight. So I love the two highlight shadow options here. I'm going right under the brow with this shade. This could make a great face highlight too. And then I'm going to take this plummy shade that has a little bit of a satiny finish. I'm going to apply that to the outer part of my lids. Only thing this palette is missing in my eyes is a mirror. So anyway, this plum is over about 2/3 of my lid, and then I'm going to take this sort of goldeny shimmery peach right down here, and I'm applying that to my innermost part. Even if you're not like a crazy huge shimmer fan, I think you'd still probably enjoy this palette because anything shimmery in it is still like really just smooth. That's the best way I can think to describe it. It's not like a frosty chunkiness, really. I love using these tones together. Oh my goodness. It reminds me so much of the Happy Place quad from Bare Minerals, what's happening right here with this. Do you see how highlighted my Cupid's bow is right now? Gosh, could that be shouting any louder at you? Goodness gracious. Okay, there's that. And then I think I want to brighten even more around the tear duct with this shade. Boom. Gorgeous. And then I think I just want the lower lash line to be really soft. I'm going to use this brown with a pencil brush. Just kind of go all the way throughout the lower lash line with that. For my liquid liner, I'm using something from Physicians Formula. Let me check my little list here. This is $11.99, and it's their Eye Booster, like ergonomic felt tip pen eyeliner, and it's got this weird little like crinkliness to the end, and I really don't like that. I've talked about not liking that before. The thing from Physicians Formula, which I think is also the same price, that I really love is their Eye Booster pen that has like a brush tip applicator at the end, but I'm out of mine now. It's really kind of run dry and I need to repurchase, but I love that thing. That is definitely my favorite pen style liquid liner from the drugstore. I just have to be so careful not to lay this on its side as I do with so many eyeliners, because then it will stamp that little waviness on my lash line and I don't want that. So I just have to be more careful and apply it really like straight from the tip. Another sort of downside to the formula that's in this pen is it's not super black at like first application. I feel the need to go back over it again to build up some blackness, but on the upside it does seem to dry matte. And then I'm just going to pull in my eyeshadow palette one more time with the brown, maybe a little bit of this gray that's next door to it, or this dark like taupey gray brown, and I just pull that down from the wing. For whatever reason, it just makes everything look a little more clean. Maybe it's my eye shape, the roundness of my eye. I think the wing just always looks more completed when I do this. Next up, I'm curling the lashes. And this is not a drugstore lash curler, it's by Tweezerman, so this does not count in the overall total of the look, and neither do any of the brushes. Although I could do a video like this and make it like brush edition, and we could really focus in on the brushes and the applicators. But my mascara here is $10.99, and it's the Voluminous Superstar, and this is the Red Carpet Black, like special edition. Same type of two-step system here, where it's sort of an hourglass shaped brush. Fortunately, the hourglass is kind of shallow, so I can still actually utilize the entire brush to hit my lashes. You know what my favorite mascara is, really, from L'Oreal, that I used for a long time? I remember using it a lot. gosh, I think back in college. It's the Double Extend. Do they still make that? Just the regular one, not the red and white one. I really thought that mascara just built on itself so well. It gave me really, really good length. I had tried this Voluminous Superstar when it first came out. And I honestly, I don't know what happened. I don't think I used it long enough, and then it kind of dried up on me, so I'll have to reevaluate. I'm gonna put a little bit on the lowers. So while that primer is sort of drying there on my upper lashes, I'm gonna go ahead and do lips. And this is the new Color Contour Lip Palette from Maybelline. I have it in the shade Blushed Bombshell. And each of these sections here is labeled. It says line with this row, color with the second row, and highlight here with that part. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do it kind of according to those steps. I think I'll use this medium shade right here. Now Maybelline has put out a lip palette before that I really did not go for so much. I thought it was full of unpigmented, like basically glosses, just kind of sheerness packed into a palette. This, I gotta say, I am enjoying the texture of the lip colors more. It feels like it's more like a pressed lipstick, you know, into here instead of just a sheer shiny gloss. Kind of ended up filling in my lips quite a bit with that liner shade. And then I think I'll take this color right next to it, a very like dusty rose. The palette smells kind of like their Color Sensational lipsticks. And I mean, if these are kind of like Color Sensational lipstick formulas in here, I think that's a good thing because I do really like that formula. And this is kind of palette, as you can see, you're going to be able to get a neutral lip out of, something a little more pinky, and then there's a deeper kind of reddish burgundy right down here. Then I'm going to flip my brush over. It's a double-ended brush, so that's nice that that's included, but there is no mirror here, and that's kind of a deal breaker for me with these lip palettes. But I'm picking up some of this thing called Highlight, and it does have a little bit of a pearlescent look. I'm going to dab this on the center of the lip. That's kind of nice, actually. It doesn't look crazy frosty, but yeah, it brightens that up and really adds the look of some fullness. Back to the lashes, and I can see that the curl in my lashes has dropped a little bit. That primer kind of weighed it down some, so I don't like to see that. But I'm going to apply the mascara step. This just has a very slight curve to it. This does kind of remind me of old school Double Extend because the length that it's building is really nice. I just wish there was more curl so you could actually see it, you know, like I've got to look at it up from under here so I can see exactly what's going on, but it's building nice length. Do a little bit here on the lower lashes because I have some primer. There's some white primer to cover up. So I think I am, just for the heck of it, going to put on some falsies with this. These are very similar to Red Cherry number 43s, although I can't remember the exact brand and style. It was something very cheap, but since I don't know and since these aren't over $10, I'm not factoring these into the cost of the overall look. But I'm just going to pop these on and then I'll join you with the finished look. Okay, folks, so what do we think? Full face drugstore makeup, but nothing under $10. I think we've got some definite hits in this video, but we have some misses as well. And I'm just going to run right down my list real quick here and go through what I thought was worth it and what wasn't. Okay, this Almay Luminous Primer. Was it decent? Yes. I remember specifically like seeking this product out because I was really excited to buy it when I went and got it. But honestly, would I repurchase it? Is it doing anything that remarkable for my skin? I don't think so. The Maybelline Dream Cushion Foundation. Truly do not think this is worth the $15.99. Like, there are so many just standard run-of-the-mill liquid foundations that do every bit as good as this did for me, if not better. I don't think the staying power on this is that great. The coverage is certainly medium. There are so many things that perform like this, and they may not be in a cushion, but there are a lot of things that can achieve what this did and not at that price tag. Now, this Physicians Formula Insta Ready Concealer. This is $10.99, and I do think this is something worth looking into. I wear this in the shade Light. It definitely has amazing coverage. It has good staying power, does not leave me really dried out, and I do wear this primarily on the under eye area. I'm relying on it for really good coverage, and I think it gives me that. I mean, I've definitely got some darkness that I'm contending with here, and I think it's really close coverage-wise to Tarte Shape Tape. It's very similar to the MAC Pro Longwear, only I think a little less drying, a little less quick to set on the skin, so I do really enjoy that. That does come with a little sponge, but I'm not a huge fan of the sponge. The number number 7 loose powder, the Perfect Light powder. This performs well. I tend to feel like I need a little bit more of this on my skin to be satisfied with the look compared to the Laura Mercier loose powder. I'm really sold on that stuff. I think it's a high-end item that's really worth the price. This, I think, is a higher priced drugstore item that's good, and it works well, it wears well, it doesn't look, you know, super fake on my skin or too makeup-y. So it's kind of in that category of something I think I'll continue to use on and off because it's not a bad product, but I don't think I'll be repurchasing this. NYX Contour Palette. Actually love this thing. It is nearly $25, but the quality in here is super, super good. The powders are very pigmented, plus, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but they can pop out, and if you go through one of them, you can replace just that shade. I think this would be a great thing for like a makeup artist, someone who needs to have maybe a bit of a range here where the colors are concerned. I really see the value in having the full range of highlights. So I guess what I'm saying here is I think it's worth the price tag, but not everybody may feel the need to have this extensive of a highlighting and contouring powder palette. And then you think about high-end brands that might charge $20 more. Is the quality of those that much better than this? No, this can totally hang with those high-end things. My butter blush from Physicians Formula, I'm sorry, I've shared my opinion on this before, but I just don't think this is doing enough for me for that $12.99 price tag. The Physicians Formula 4-in-1 brow thing, yes, it offers some simplicity to someone who just wants to be able to buy one thing and think, boom, there's my brows. But as I said earlier, I think you can achieve brows from the drugstore for probably under $10 with a gel and a pencil that works for you, so that's not an essential for me. The Revlon Eye Primer, as a base for application, it worked well. We're just gonna have to see, does it make my eyelids greasy? Does my eyeshadow stay looking kind of fresh and vibrant all day? That remains to be seen, but as a fallback, you know, the Milani eyeshadow primer is certainly great and definitely under $10. NYX, gotta say, bringing it with the palettes. I love the Avant Pop eyeshadows. I think this is a spectacular formula. This palette is the most neutral of the three that they have. They have some really bright, bold colors if that's what you're into. But for every day, I do really love this mix of tones. I love peach, I love plum. You got things over here like a beautiful green, things that go a little bit cooler, kind of a steely blue shade over here. So this is spectacular, $16.99. Yes, it is worth it. This Physicians Formula eyeliner, nope, sorry. The other one, the pen form that has more of a brush tip, that's amazing. This though, I can't deal with it. The mascara, also the first step, the primer step, definitely weighed down my lashes. It's not a horrible mascara, and it may work wonderfully well for someone who has lashes that can hold a curl and they just want to build some great length. That primer step and this 2-in-1 concept may be worth it for you, but for me, not so much. And the lip products I use, this lip balm from Almay, yes, so worth it. I compared the performance of this to some more expensive balms that I picked up recently, and this worked so well when my lips were needing to be actually healed. And this Maybelline lip palette, I think it's a big improvement over a lip palette that they put out not so long ago, really. I like the shades that are in here. I like that they seem more like a lipstick pressed into a palette than a shiny sheer lip gloss. And this highlighting shade is really cool, and I love the look on my lips. The deal breaker for me is, am I gonna take this in my purse, have to open this up, grab a lip brush out to apply my product, and then somehow grab for a separate palette that actually, hold on here, it's going to take a couple hands, have my mirror in it. And how do you pull this off? You know, you've got to have some portability by having a mirror here. They could have maybe stuck a skinny mirror up in here if they absolutely had to have a window on the product, but the e.l.f. lip palettes, the fact that they have a mirror in them, it builds them more for portability. And if I'm honest, I've got these shades in freestanding lipsticks in my collection, and that's probably what I'm going to grab for and realistically use when I'm on the go. So hopefully this video answered some questions for you about some of these things that you run across in the drugstore and you think, man, do I want to pay more than 10 bucks for that thing? Some of these things I think are well worth their price, and some things not so much. So thank you guys so much for your time today, and I will see you very soon. Bye.